I'm meteorologist Rich Luderman. We do have a new tornado warning, and we're going to get right to it. It's for a little part of Washtenaw and a small part of Wayne County. So first things first, let's take a look at this line of storms that's quickly racing across southeast Michigan. Strong to severe thunderstorms north of Ann Arbor through Oakland County right now, also crossing M59 in Oakland and Macomb counties. But let's show you where that little kink is on the line. It's pretty easy to see it right here. So right here where you have that kink in the line, oftentimes that is a severe signature, perhaps rotation where that kink is. So we're going to zoom in on that kink and show you the real estate that we're talking about. It's close to Salem Township. It's moving pretty quick. So let's get in there and show you the velocity scope. So here's that rotation coming up quickly on Plymouth right now. So if you're watching from Salem Township, from Plymouth, there's Canton down there. This circulation is going to quickly cross your area, and that's where the tornado warning is. So with that tornado warning, you got to be in your safe spot. If you're watching anywhere close to Plymouth, down to Canton, we can zoom in a bit more and show you. There's well, not Garden City. There's Westland. Let's back off a little bit here. So Plymouth and Cherry Hill, here's the area of concern. This is M14. Yeah, M14, close to Plymouth. If you're watching from that part of Washtenaw and Wayne counties, you should be in your safe spot. Here's where that tornado warning is, a small part of Washtenaw, a small part of Wayne County. I want to zoom back out and show you that there's a lot of activity going on tonight. It's a big line of showers and storms that extend all the way onto the east side. But we're going to zoom in and show you it's that kink in the line that brings the greatest threat for rotation right there. So here is the border of Oakland and Wayne counties. So now we're getting closer to Plymouth and Northville. If you're watching from Plymouth and Northville, you should be inside because that's where that signature is of strong rotation. You don't see it as much on the reflectivity side of the radar, but when we show you the velocity side of the radar, you get a much better feel for that rotation right there. There's Salem Township. I'm going to keep zooming in a bit. So here's Salem Township, here's Plymouth, here's M14. If you're watching from any of these locations, you should be in your safe spot. Stay away from windows as this storm races off to the east and southeast. That's a good thing here. It is moving very, very quickly, but it will quickly be down close to Canton, crossing 275. I'm going to step back off to the west and show you some more real estate. Here's Plymouth, there's Salem Township, here's that strong rotation. And again, it shows up pretty well in the reflectivity. When you see that kink in the line, and there it is, it's easy to see that kink. I'm going to zoom back in and get Plymouth up there. So here's Plymouth, and here's where the rotation is. Northville, you're seeing heavy thunderstorms right now with gusty winds, and all of these storms have the potential to put down wind gusts in excess of 50, 60, even 70 miles per hour. So we're going to get some power outages. That is going to happen for the rest of tonight as these storms quickly race across Oakland and Wayne County. But the strong rotation right there, will go back to the velocity because it's very easy to see. And we're going to get a new scan here in a moment, and we'll see how that rotation moves. Let me just go in a bit more. There's Brookville, Salem, Brookville. But remember, the storm is heading towards me. The storm is coming towards M14 and 275. I'm going to zoom back out. So Plymouth, you're in the path of this storm. So the tight rotation is just off to the west of you in Plymouth. So anywhere around Plymouth right now, here's M14, here's 275. That's where that active tornado warning is. And this storm will likely hold together as it gets close to 275, which is a much more populated part of Wayne County. So tornado warning for a part of Washtenaw and part of Wayne County, but especially very close to Plymouth. In and around Plymouth, within 5 or 10 miles, you should be in your safe spot and stay there until the storm passes. Let's show you that reflectivity again, because it's that kink in the line. I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to loop just this area right here. There's the tornado warning. So the tornado warning is right on top of you in Plymouth. Now, it does extend down just to the north of Canton, but here's 275. So from Plymouth to 275, this is Wayne County. This is Wayne County now with a tornado warning, and it's that little kink in the line, we call it. I'll zoom out a bit, and you'll get a bigger feel for how far this line extends all the way up close to Warren and the zoo. That's not where the tornado warning is, but still, these are all strong to severe storms around Warren, pushing quickly into Detroit, Hamtramck, Highland Park. There's Taylor right there. You're not on top of that rotation, but so there's a new image. So now is an extension to the tornado warning. I'm going to back this off just a bit, and I'm going to zoom out because now that tornado warning has been extended down to Van Buren Township. I'm going to go back to the velocity scope, and I'm going to zoom in a bit. So there's Canton. Here's Canton, and here's Van Buren Township. This is all being tornado warned, this cell. So we have the strong damaging wind gusts, and we also have this kink in the line that's quickly approaching 275. Here's 275, and here's Telegraph Road. So anywhere along Michigan Avenue, between 275 and Telegraph, you should be in your safe spot. Canton and Plymouth, be in your safe spot. Down to Van Buren, you should be in your safe spot as well, because all of this has rotation along it. Let's go back out a bit and show you that kink again, and we can loop it, and you'll get a pretty good feel. Now notice there's very strong wind gusts up here in Livonia. Not so much rotation in Livonia, but damaging wind gusts for certain. And it's that rotation where that kink is crossing 275 right now. Let's go in real tight if we can and show you where on 275. So there's Westland. So looks like Plymouth, the strongest rotation is now south of you, but if you're watching from Canton, if you're watching from Westland, you should be in your safe spot. This is an active tornado warning. They actually expanded it south, and as this kink in the line, as this rotation continues to move off to the east, there could be additional warnings, tornado warnings in Oakland County. Let's zoom back out and give you the big picture, because I know a lot of people are saying, Luderman, it's not bad where I live. We get that. I mean, notice downriver, you're not really seeing the action yet, Monroe County, but notice this line already moving through Lansing. It's on top of Ann Arbor right now, certainly on top of southern Oakland County, Farmington Hills, out around the zoo. There's Warren, there's Sterling Heights, there's Anchor Bay, all strong storms. But we'll go back in and show you where that tornado warning is, because right now that's the most pressing part of the storm. So Washtenaw County, you're out of the tornado warning. It's now all in Wayne County, and we can zoom in again and show you where that rotation is, because it really shows up well. A lot of times we don't see this strong rotation, and it's pretty tough to pinpoint where the rotation is, but with that kink, it shows up pretty well. Now, the good news is we're not seeing a lot of the reds and greens come together. So sometimes we'll see that tight gate-to-gate, we call it, rotation. We're not seeing that, but still, with this kink in the line, close to Westland, you should be in your safe spot. Let's zoom in some more and show you. There's Canton right there. There's Wayne, there's Westland. Canton, Westland, and Wayne. If you're watching from any of these areas in Wayne County, you should be in your safe spot. This is a active tornado warning for Wayne County. It may get extended further. This kink has been with us now for a good 15 minutes. We're going to get a new scan momentarily. So all along 275. So here's Ford Road. Here's Michigan Avenue. All of this stretch of 275 is under a tornado warning. It could get down as far as Metro Airport. That would be Romulus. So we're going to keep watching that closely. Let's zoom out, and let's show you how this kink in the line has developed and proceeded. You can see it, and then you can see it quickly racing down into Wayne County. So further to the east is Dearborn and Dearborn Heights. We're not there yet, but this line of storms is quickly racing up on Dearborn and Dearborn Heights. You can kind of see where the airport is right there. If you're watching in and around Romulus right now, in Dearborn and Dearborn Heights, you should be in your safe spot. So long as this storm is still off to your west, there's evidence of rotation in this line with this kink. You should be in your safe spot and stay there until the storm passes. But again, just about all of southeast Michigan, all of Metro Detroit, under the gun with strong to severe storms. The big threat is the wind gust potential. And some of these wind gusts could get better than 60 or 70 miles per hour. But that strong rotation along 275, close to Canton, let's zoom in again and show it to you. because it is moving. It's not a static thing. There's Canton, and there's Wayne. Here's Van Buren Township. If I step off to the west, you can see where Metro Airport is right there. So still another 5 or 6 minutes from Metro Airport. But here's 275. Here's Michigan Avenue. There's Ford Road. All of this area is under an active tornado warning. Now, if you have any reports of damage, get it to us here, the Fox 2 Weather Authority. But can't stress strongly enough, stay inside until these storms pass. Stay away from the windows, of course. There could be power outages. There will likely be some power outages. So obviously, keep your kids away from all the down lines that could be out there across the area. We don't have a lot of confirmation yet. Now, notice in the last frame or two that kink has moved now over to Wayne. So it looks like the worst of it is behind you in Canton and Van Buren, but now that kink right there, I'm going to stop it so we can really show you what the radar does. It shows this area of rotation right there where the reds and greens come together, right over Wayne, Michigan right now. Could be other rotation down close to the airport. Here's where I-94 and 275 come together. That's right on top of Romulus. Anywhere in this area, from Wayne to Romulus, you should be in your safe spot. Thankfully, this storm is moving very quickly off to the east and southeast. Let me zoom it out a wee bit more. Now, we can loop this as well. And there it is. So again, easy to see from Wayne down to Romulus, this kink in the line, these areas of rotation. There's not just one, there's a couple of them out there. But notice that down the line, Telegraph Road, you're going to be getting close to this storm. So if you're watching from the airport, in and around the airport, if you're watching from Taylor, if you're watching from Brownstown, there's Huron Township, you should be in your safe spot because this storm is not stopping. It's just going to barrel on through this part of Wayne County. But notice the airport is just about there in terms of this line, this kink in the line, and these areas of rotation along that stretch. Let's go back to a wider shot and show you that there are plenty of spots of active weather. Once again, we're dealing with the heavy downpours, the gusty winds, a lot of lightning out there. We're hearing it here in Southfield, but areas along this line are seeing those strong damaging wind gusts. We've had a few tornado warnings since this line was out there around Grand Rapids. It came through Lansing, tornado warnings there as well. So now here we are. This line is in southeast Michigan. It's crossing Metro Detroit as we speak. Just want to reiterate, stay inside until these storms pass. Let's go to that active tornado warning. We'll show it to you. There it is. So there's a couple of areas of rotation, like we saw, and we're going to get to it in a second, but it's Wayne County that has those tornado warnings. I would say in another 30 minutes, a lot of this action is going to be clearing Wayne County and getting over Lake Erie and onto the Ontario side of the border. We want to warn our friends in Windsor and Amherstburg that these storms are coming in your direction as well. But there's a great look at that line, and you've seen that little kink in the line. You can clearly see where it's been and where it's heading. Certainly down into Dearborn and Dearborn Heights. If you're watching, you should be in your safe spot, and you should stay there until the storm passes. Let's take a good look, and we'll zoom in. Boy, is it moving quick. It is moving very, very quickly. We're going to show you the last of data here. So it's over Heights, again, where I-94 and Michigan Ave converge there. If you're watching us from central Wayne County, you should be in your safe spot. Stay away from the windows until these storms pass. Notice all the heavy rain up around the zoo and Warren, all along 8 Mile Road. Damaging wind gusts embedded within this line. We're going to go back to it with the velocity because it showed, well, we just took a power hit here at the station. Now, I just lost my computer here. I'm going to step off the screen. It's going to take a minute for this computer to reboot. I'm just going to step back over here. But we got a good shot up there for you because that's really showing where the action is. Show you the reflectivity. And there's that tornado warning. We just took another hit. So let's reiterate. I'm stepping off camera because our computer's rebooting. But we have a couple of tornado warnings in Wayne County. And we're going going to zoom in and show you the spots that we're most concerned with. So there's the full line of storms, quickly clearing Livingston County. There's heavy storms on top of Ann Arbor, heavy storms right over Detroit, around the zoo and Warren. We're going to keep zooming in. On the east side, St. Clair Shores, the Grosse Pointes, heavy storms. But there's that little area just around the airport, just around Metro Airport.
Hey, Rich, this is Roop. I just wanted to chime in and ask you a quick question here as we take a look at all this good work that you're doing. You keep talking about this kink, this area that has a rotation and how tight that is right now. For the people who live in that area, where are the people right now at this moment that are having the worst threat when it comes to that particular piece of circulation that you speak of?
Roop, that's a great question. So it's right over Wayne right now, but it's moving so quickly. So it's that whole stretch from Wayne to Romulus. So Wayne, the city of Wayne, and Romulus, which is very close to Metro Airport, I mean, that's where the tightest rotation is. So you can see Inkster is at the top of the screen there, but notice it's just moved. I mean, again, we're getting new imagery every 3 or 4 minutes. So now it's right over the airport. So right over Metro Airport is the strongest part of the storm. And if I stop it, the animation, you can see where those reds and greens come together like in a ball right in the middle of your screen. Yeah. That is where the tightest rotation is. There's Sibley Road. So there's 275. There's the exit off Sibley Road. So that's the spot. That's the spot. But, you know, we don't want to tell people exactly where it is because these tornadoes, these rotations, Rup and Taryn, they're moving, they're evolving. It's not one point on a map. So here's that tight rotation. Here's New Boston, here's 275. There's the rotation now, just south of Metro Airport. So it's been with us now for a good 20 minutes. It was up by Plymouth, and now it's all the way down close to Metro Airport. I'm going to go grab my glasses, Bobby. You're right there. I got to see with my glasses. Let's loop this and follow. I'm going to follow this rotation. I'm going to zoom it out so you'll get the feel. There it was, and now there it is. So let's stop it again. I'm going to go to the latest image. So it's New Boston. It's very close to New Boston right now, but it's heading over to Telegraph. So that whole stretch from New Boston over toward Brownstown. So New Boston to Brownstown, this whole area is going to see this tight rotation cross. Here's Telegraph Road. Here's where I-75 comes in. I'm going to step back off to the west here. So here's Brownstown. Here's Telegraph Road. Here's I-75. It's this part of Wayne County that has that tight rotation. Now, it's late at night, which adds trouble to it because you can't see anything out there. And our advice is don't go outside and look for anything. But in the daytime, you can see tornadoes from a distance. At nighttime, it's almost impossible to see them because of the rain and the storms and the lightning. So the tight rotation we're looking at on radar is close to Huron Township. It's close to New Boston. It's just south of Metro Airport. That's where the strongest rotation is. But we don't want to discount our viewers who are watching from all over Southeast Michigan. I want to zoom out and show you the whole big picture here. I'm going to get rid of the lightning. We don't need to see the lightning. There's obviously a lot of lightning out there. But right there is the line of storms. You can see those tornado warnings in red. The southern one has that intersection of I-94 and 275 in the bullseye, but it's a little east of there. If you're watching from downriver areas, if you're watching from Allen Park, from Lincoln Park, if you're watching from Wyandotte, Amherstburg, on the Canadian side of the border, you should be in your safe spot as well because this storm is just barreling across Wayne County. More storms up there on the east side, St. Clair Shores, Highland Park, Hamtramck. You're getting it. The gusty winds are out there. But it's a small part of Wayne County that has that tornado warning. If you're watching from Harrison Township, if you're watching from Sterling Heights, it's coming down good. There's a lot of dangers out there tonight with the lightning and the gusty winds and the localized flooding. It's all in play tonight with this line of storms, but it's that one spot in southern Wayne County. So let's go back and take a look at the velocity now. So that kink is still there. That kink, that little bend in the line, that's really what it is, the bend in the line. And it's meteorology 101. When we see, well, we're getting, oh, there you go. Thank you, Rube. I appreciate it. Still around Taylor, heading towards Brownstown, a lot of population in the downriver areas. So all of the downriver areas should be in your safe spot until this storm passes. Let's go back to our base reflectivity, and we're going to loop it. So you can see the tornado warnings, you can see the radar, you can see all of the lightning and the heavy rain. You don't see the gusty winds. Those are embedded within this line, but it's right there near Taylor where we're seeing that rotation, where that kink continues to be. It'll be interesting to see if this tornado warning gets extended further to the east. It very well could from the Weather Service up in White Lake. But if you're watching from downriver areas, from Dearborn down to Allen Park and Lincoln Park, eventually down to the Rockwoods, that whole area, you should be in your safe spot until these storms pass. Notice the heavy rain right over Detroit right now. So Belle Isle, downtown Detroit, you're getting the flooding rains and the gusty winds. But there in southern Wayne County is where that rotation is. Let's take a look again at the velocity, because we're getting new images all the time. It's not a static thing. This whole line is moving. So as I'm looking at this now, that tight rotation, we're going to zoom in on it, is still close to New Boston, but I'll zoom it out and show you that from New Boston to Brownstown, so Brownstown, New Boston, that's where that tight rotation is, right there, right there. Now we just got a new image. So there's the tight rotation closer to Brownstown. Let's move the map. Absolutely, we're going to move the map. So a couple of areas of rotation. So let's zoom in a bit more. I saw Flat Rock. There it is. So if you're watching from Brownstown, if you're watching from Flat Rock right now, you should be in your safe spot, away from windows until these storms pass. There's one area of rotation, and there's another area of rotation just south of Flat Rock. But again, these tornadoes don't move in a straight line. They wiggle around. They come and go. They lift up. They come down. So you can't just draw a straight line and say, well, that's where the tornado is going to go. It doesn't work that way. And we have no confirmation that there is a tornado in Wayne County. We're getting active tornado warnings. We're seeing strong rotation on the radar, especially in the downriver areas, Flat Rock and Brownstown. We can zoom in some more. And there's Trenton up there. Now, Trenton and Gibraltar, you're still downstream from these areas of rotation. There's Riverview. So Riverview, Trenton, Gibraltar, the Rockwoods. If you're watching from any of those locations, you should be in your safe spot right now. The strongest rotation is around Brownstown, around Flat Rock, but this line is barreling on to the east between 40 and 50 miles per hour. So it's not going to be that long until this whole storm is on the Canadian side of the border over the west end of Lake Erie. Let's go back to our warning map, because they're updating the severe thunderstorm warnings down in Lenawee and Monroe counties, severe thunderstorm warnings over Detroit, around the zoo as well, out around Algonac, very heavy winds and heavy rains. But it's this area in red here, it's central Wayne County, that has the active tornado warnings, especially the downriver areas. So there's a good look at the entire line of storms that's been with us now for a couple of hours. So some of the line is moving quicker than other parts of the line. So where we have this area down in Lenawee and Monroe counties, good chance for gusty winds with this gusting out part of the front. But we're still looking at that kink. It's easy to see it. It's right there. So when we go back to the velocity and we go into that area where the kink is, where the bend in the line is, sure enough, we're finding areas of rotation. So here's a great map. So here's Taylor up here. Brownstown, you have that rotation right over you. There's Flat Rock right there. There's that intersection of 75 and 275. That's in Monroe County. So no tornado warnings in Monroe County, but perhaps this may get extended further downstream. But Flat Rock and Brownstown, you have that strong rotation right now. Let's loop it and take a look at where the rotation came from. It started way up there near Plymouth and Salem, and now it's already downriver, and it's only been 25 minutes, so that's how fast it's moving. Let's take another good look at that, at the whole line of storms, because we're dealing with tornado warnings in southern Wayne County, but we have a lot of active weather right over Detroit, and the Grosse Pointes and St. Clair Shores. Looks like the worst of you in Ann Arbor is now to your south through the Irish Hills. Chunks of Monroe County getting very heavy rainfall, but again, it's southern Wayne County. And we got to keep going back to the map because these maps are, now they just dropped it. So now they just dropped the tornado warning for Wayne County. So that's a good thing. That's a great thing, actually. So we want to know what's happened, where these storms have passed. If you have information, get it to us here at Fox 2. We're going to stay with these storms, Roop and Taryn, that's for sure. But as we speak, there are no active tornado warnings. They did not continue it in Wayne County. Are we going to stay here? Are we going to take a break? We're going to take a break. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to continue our coverage, and we're going to join Taryn and Roop as well.